Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Stories. I am your host, Dr. LL, Loralyn Mears of Steeris. And every week we have just absolutely amazing guests. Like, I think I'm having more fun than our audience even is. Maybe even more fun than some of our guests are. Today, we've got Kelvin Abrams. He is the Get Uncomfortable Guy. He's got a couple of businesses going. He's an author of the book of the same name, and his business is Canine and Coffee Lounge. And of course, if you've got anything involving dogs and coffee or bars, that's fine. I'm down for all of it. Kelvin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you extending the offer.
Well, let's get into this first part of it here because one of the big things is a trend I'm seeing that entrepreneurs don't have one business anymore. Most of us are, we'll call it hedging our bets, and we've got a couple of things going. Do you think that's what's happening? Talk to us about this trend.
Absolutely. I think any good entrepreneur knows that you need to have multiple irons in the fire, or what they refer to as multiple streams of revenue coming in. So that way, when one revenue stream is down, you can focus on another revenue stream. But the difficult part about that is now you're being pulled in three or four different directions. And as you know already, as an entrepreneur, we're pulled in every direction with one business. And then when you talk about having multiple businesses, that's where it gets a little challenging and difficult. But at the same time, you have to have multiple streams of revenue. So, for example, I have a doggy daycare boarding facility, a coffee shop, and I have a small gym. So, right now, the gym is up. The boarding doggy daycare boarding business is down because the first quarter of the year, like most businesses, we kind of lose. And the coffee shop slash bourbon bar right now is kind of down because, again, the first quarter of the year. So right now I'm relying on the gym, which is the biggest quarter of the first quarter of the year is the biggest quarter for most gyms. So that's kind of why you need to have multiple streams of revenue coming in the door, or I should say multiple irons in the fire, because one of them is going to go out one day and you don't want it to.
Right. Okay. So there's a few things there that I want to unpack. Let's begin by talking about the seasonality of businesses and how some entrepreneurs underestimate what that's going to do to their business.
Oh boy. If you don't, I talk about this all the time. If you don't prepare, like I'm never here today. Like today is February something or another, but I'm not in February. I'm already in July and August, right? And so I tell myself and I tell other people is that you have to be six, seven a year ahead. You have to anticipate these things. You have to anticipate season changes. You have to anticipate quarters where it's not going to be busy. You have to anticipate snow and rain and things like that that affects my business as a doggy daycare boarding facility. So I have to anticipate all those things. And that's the difficult part. But if you stay six, seven, eight, 9 months in advance of your businesses, I think that's a good start. I mean, you're never going to nail it right on the head. I mean, that's just, every day is a new journey. But you just have to do your best to try to be ahead of the game.
When we talk about planning 6, 8, 9 plus months or out or a year or more, most entrepreneurs I talk to struggle with even getting the quarter in front of them mapped out. What's your secret, Kelvin, to plan that far in advance and multiple businesses?
There is no secret. You see these black eyes? It's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of, worrying. It's a lot of talking to mentors. So I have a really good friend who's a business mentor of mine. I call him Uncle Willie. He's been there, done that, walked in my shoes. And so it's a lot of strategizing. I mean, I talk to my bookkeeper, I talk to my CPA. So you got to have a good team around you to help you plan for the future and to help you kind of get through the day to day. And when I say a good team, I always tell people you don't want to depend on family and friends, not because they're family and friends, but because they're going to tell you what they think you need to hear because they love you, they care about you, they don't want you to fail, right? And that's who you do not want in your corner. My humble opinion. I want someone in my corner who's going to tell me, Kelvin, you're messing up. Kelvin, this is wrong. Kelvin, you need to do this. How are you going to figure this out? I want somebody in my corner that's going to challenge me, not someone that says, hey, is it time for you to back away because things are hard? No, it's not time for me to back away. Because the moment you back away, you never know what could have happened if you continue going down that journey.
Oh, exactly. I've had personal experiences like that. People very close to me telling me, just give up this entrepreneur nonsense. Just go be employed, be a bus driver, be anything else.
Yeah.
I'm like, but that's not what I want to do. That's not
Right.
how my head works.
Right. Yeah. Same way here, it's like I would rather, I believe in God and I believe in a higher spirit. So I would rather, when my number is called, meet the man and say, I did everything I could, instead of meet the man and have him say to me, or woman, and have him or her say to me, why didn't you give it your all? Why didn't you? I gave you the talent, I gave you the ability. Why did you quit? So I'd rather go up there or go down there and know that I did the best that I could and that I left no stone unturned. I left no door unopened and I plowed right through it. So I'd rather go up there knowing I gave it my all instead of walking away. There is no quitting when you're an entrepreneur. There is no quitting.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. I want to come back to this. Might go up there, might go down there. And for people that don't have the benefit of the visuals, I believe Kelvin was referring to heaven and hell. And
Correct.
so, right? And so, where I want to get into this is that my last few guests have openly embraced not just spirituality, but religion and saying that it is because of God that they are here. And my podcast is not a Christian podcast. We've had people of, oh my goodness, every walk of life and religion, from Jews to Muslims to Catholics to this, that, to everybody. I invite people to go whatever direction they want to take it. There's going to be no judgment from me. And if any of my fans shut my guests down, they're going to hear it from me. I'm going to put that out there. So, talk to me about the importance of having faith as an entrepreneur.
Oh, so important. I have a cross that I wear around my neck, and all day long, I'm holding that cross, I'm kissing that cross, I'm praying to God all day long. And I make it a point before I go to bed. I thank God for the day, the opportunities that He presented with me with that day. When I wake up in the morning, I give thanks to be 6 feet above the ground. I say a little prayer, and I jump out of bed and I'm ready to go. And throughout the day, I have faith. And when it starts to waver, I have these little sayings that are all over my office, little cards and little what do you call those? Little post-its. And I have all these little verses all around that I kind of just look at and just take a moment to breathe. And so I have these prayer beads that I kind of sit with. And Uncle Willie and I coined the phrase going to the boardroom. So in my book, Get Uncomfortable or Change Course, we talk about going to the boardroom. And going to the boardroom is, for me, I'm a cigar guy. I sit outside, have a cigar. I sit back and I listen to an audio book. I just sit back and take that half hour and I'm in myself. I'm breathing, I'm relaxing, I'm decompressing, and I'm letting that boardroom come to me. Because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're so busy all day long that we can't get it out of our heads. And that's why, for me personally, I don't sleep at night because there's so much in my head that hasn't gotten out that I get up in the middle of the night and I'm writing notes. I'm taking notes. That's why there's so many post-its around. So I'm taking notes. And then when I'm sitting out there with the cigar and relaxing, it gives me some downtime to just kind of decompress and start writing things down and going back to the drawing board. So it's very important to go to the boardroom, as I call it, the boardroom, or meditation or prayer. So yeah, I think faith plays a huge part in my life. I'm not a very religious person by any means. I'm not going to quote you Bible verses and this and no, but I believe in God. I have my spirituality with my God. I pray to my God and I give thanks to my God.
There you go. Let's pull some of those pieces together because what you described is just having that time to yourself to just pause, exhale, not have all of the interruptions and the chaos of the day that's in our
Correct.
heads as entrepreneurs. Is that really just self-care so that we reset? Or is there more to it with the whole spirituality, praying and being thankful to God? Where do you, I guess, where are the lines? What do you see?
No, that you're 100% correct. I mean, that's you're resetting. You're resetting. It's self-care. And I learned about a year ago through talking to a therapist. I was talking to a therapist for a while and on medication. And so about a year ago, I learned from my therapist that I need to have weekly self-care and it's checks and balances. So about a year ago, I started getting a weekly massage. I started treating myself to a weekly massage. And then once every other month, I get a pedicure.
Lovely.
Yeah,
And what
love the
color are your
pedicure.
toenails today, Kelvin?
Well,
Right?
sometimes I paint them black or I paint them blue.
There you go. Why not? Right?
Yeah, well, I figure I'm paying for a pedicure, so you might as well add the color.
Well, that's just it. If you got the clear thing, you don't even know you had it happen. That's why I asked. Many of my male friends get pedicures and they get all different kinds of colors, neon, this, that, glitter. I'm like, yeah, go for it. I'm a glitter
Right.
girl. I love seeing sparkly toenails. It's fabulous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just self-care. I mean,
yeah.
because as an entrepreneur, as you already know, I mean, we forget about us. I mean, we worry about everyone else. We worry
Mm.
about paying our bills. We worry about paying our employees, and we forget about ourselves. So, a year ago, I started doing it, and I'm really enjoying it. So I look forward to every week having a massage. And couple, like I said, a couple of times a year, I do a pedicure, and that's my self-care. In addition to when the weather gets nicer, I usually sit outside every day with a cigar, which is a bad habit, I know, but I sit outside every day with a cigar and I decompress and I listen to my audiobook. And then the books that I listen to are motivational books. They're what's it, Dale Carnegie.
Mm.
I'll listen to David Goggins. I'll
Okay.
listen to David Goggins' book. That guy's a tough SOB. So yeah, I just sit back and listen to that and it just kind of recharges my battery. So, we call it going to the boardroom, but it's a reset. It's self-care. It's recharging the battery. It's decompressing. It's just getting the hell out of the office, breathing, smelling the fresh air, getting vitamin D inside your skin, letting that vitamin D, get to you. So it's all of that wrapped up into one called the boardroom.
Oh, yes. And whatever way you want to use it. For me, I really started embracing a gratitude practice and becoming more focused, like more intentional as a Catholic. I used to go to church all the time, when I was young, really like devoted, kind of fell apart in my 30s and 40s there, and then started to get back into it. And it makes a huge difference. I walk my dog in the morning. We greet all the little animals. There's the deer, the bunnies, the fox. I don't really like the coyote, but see him sometimes. And I just begin the day with being grateful for what I have and thanking God for what is here and what's available to me. And it's making a big difference. I feel
Yeah.
more connected, more whole.
Absolutely. I also listen to gospel music. I listen to inspirational music. Like there are times when, everybody has to pay bills. Being an entrepreneur is not just handing out your business card, being the face of the company. Oh man, it's sitting back there doing the QuickBooks and entering the receipts and, doing the back office stuff that people don't hear about or know about. And so that's when, you really got to dig deep. So I'll listen to inspirational music. I'll listen to motivational music. I'll just listen to music to kind of start humming and singing. And then it kind of puts me in a mood that I'm ready to do the work. I'm willing to do this work and I accept the work. But if I start and I'm just angry and I'm sitting here, that's when the mistakes start. So what I like to do is when it's that time and you got those stacks of bills and you got stuff you got to get done, I turn on that Spotify. I hit that Spotify. I put whatever kind of genre music I want to listen to. Lately, I've been listening to hard, gritty blues music for some reason, like gritty, like hard, like blues music, and it's actually pretty cool and relaxing. And so I've been getting my work done. So yeah, there's a multitude of things you have to do to kind of motivate yourself, to get yourself going, to reset, recharge your back, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, there all day long it's a reset. All day long it's a reset.
And that brings us back to the beginning of the podcast where we talked about, oh, we've got multiple businesses. We're here, we're there. You got back office, you got bills, you got to get out there, you got to get clients, you got to get this. That we're also skitter scattered trying to do so many things. And because entrepreneurship tends to really, I guess, people that have ADHD, like me, I'm an ADHD squirrel, we tend to find ourselves on the path of entrepreneurship because we're always wanting something new and bigger challenge. How do people like how can we be able to keep it focused and say this is what I need to prioritize now versus this, especially when you've got multiple businesses?
It's a daily challenge. I haven't figured that one out yet. Let me tell you, I take so many different kind of medicines, herbal medicines, things like that to try to help me focus and to stay focused. It's just very challenging, and especially for me, I'm a one man shop. Um, couple of years back before the pandemic, things were much better because unfortunately the employment situation was a lot better than it is now post the pandemic. Post pandemic, it's difficult to find anybody that wants to work and to help you. And so, it's very challenging. So I would say over the last 6 years now, we're in 2026. So over the last 6 years, I would say things have changed and I'm still learning. Prior to the pandemic, I had everything figured out. I had a great staff and it wasn't as hectic. But now, past the pandemic, I mean, I'm still dealing in the pandemic. People don't believe it when I say that. I'm like, yeah, I'm still, dealing with issues from the pandemic from 5 years ago. And what I mean by that is the employee situation has changed drastically. And so it puts all that pressure on me. So it's challenging at times, and I just have to try to stay focused.
How do you work through it when the people you want to bring around you to help you get it done really either aren't available or aren't getting it done? And then all the burden falls on you, right? The owner. What happens then? Like you just get bogged down and go, no, I can't do this. Things fall behind. You miss things, miss deadlines. What happens in those situations?
All of the above.
Yeah.
And so generally what happens is I give someone, now I'm to the point where I'm very short and quick, is I'll give someone 30 days. And if they come in the door and they can't do what they said they can do in 30 days, I let them go. And then the other thing, what happens is I get up in the morning. I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning doing things sometimes. I'm up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning paying bills. Of course, you pay for it later on in the day. But most days I'm able to kind of take a nap. I lay on the floor with my dogs and reset, kind of take a nap. And sleep with them and wake up and get going again. But it's very hard. I try to have notes. I have a little iPad where I have little scribbled notes and I kind of go on a priority. Everything's a priority. When you got three businesses, that means you got three sets of bills, three sets of rent that you have to figure out and all of that stuff. And you have to balance your books. And so everything's a priority. So my priority list is so long that there is nothing else on my list but priority. And you just kind of have to work through it one by one and just realize that don't set yourself up for failure and say, I'm going to get 12 things done today. Just try to do one. And if you get that one accomplished, cross it off your list. Do a second one. If you get that accomplished, cross it off your list. And just kind of move like that. And it's just difficult. And you have to learn how to multitask. I mean, I'm multitasking. I can be down here in a bar slinging a drink, making a bourbon, and on my phone at the same time, multitasking, trying to get other things resolved from other businesses. So you're always multitasking.
Do you think that leads to more errors and making you ineffective because you are distracted?
100%. 100%. Because you're not able to focus all your attention on one business. Like right now, I should be focusing all my attention on the gym because, again, we're in the first quarter. But unfortunately, now I have to focus on both businesses because I have employees at my dog boarding business and it's kind of slow here. So I really have to focus my energy on the dog business because I got to be able to pay my employees every 2 weeks. So that's the challenge right now. So I've kind of walked away from the gym and kind of let it be its own. It's a 24-hour fitness gym, so it doesn't need me there every day. But I've kind of walked away from that for now to make sure I take care of my employees because without employees, there is no business. So you
Right.
got to make sure, employees have bills just like you have bills and they don't want to hear, I'll pay you next week.
No, they do not. And so back to what you said. You said you have dogs. So what kind of dogs do you have? What are their names? We need to know.
I have two Weimaraners, and I'm a New York Giants football fan, so all my Weimaraners have been named after Giants football players. So right now, the two I have, one is called Strahan for Michael Strahan, and the other one is called Banks for Carl Banks. He's an old school New York Giants football player. But I've had LT, I've had Carson, I've had Tiki. So again, I'm a Weimaraner guy, New York Giants fan, so all my dogs have been named after Giants players.
Okay, so that's important to know. All right, switching gears, talking about the business that you run here as a coffee bar by morning and then a bar, right? Serving bourbon and all kinds of adult libations in the evenings, which I know that you clearly mark everywhere. Yet, when we look at Google reviews, let's talk about that. I think you've handled them with enormous grace, but I also think that a lot of people just have to get their anger out. They've got to say their piece and they don't realize how detrimental it can be. Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, I've had some bad reviews like everyone, and yeah, there are a lot of times you want to just really, I mean, boy, you want to give it to them, but you can't. And I find myself being very honest when I write back to people. I'm like, you should have talked to me. Maybe I could have corrected it. You're hurting a small business. I'm a small business. And so if you just let people know that, hey, I'm just trying to make it like you are. Things are expensive. People complain all the time about, oh, your coffee's too high. Well, I'm sorry, but rent's expensive. I'm in one of the richest zip codes in Howard County. What can I do? I have to charge it and turn the cost over to you. Especially nowadays with these credit card fees. People don't like you charging them a credit card fee, but everybody nowadays wants to use their Platinum card, their American Express card, their whatever card that gives them points back. But they don't realize it comes from people like me. And so people get upset with me and say, why are you charging me $1 surcharge fee? Well, because at the end of the year, there's $15,000 that goes to Visa, American Express that comes out of my pocket. So I have to turn that cost over to you. So it's very important when I write back on these on these reviews or respond to these reviews to kind of let them know that I'm just a hardworking person like you are. I'm not trying to rip you off. I'm just trying to survive. And it's like, yeah, people want to get out there, and that's the bad thing with social media. And that's the bad thing with these reviews is, you know, there should be a way to filter through this and not let all these bad reviews because you're pissed off that someone did whatever to you and now you want to take them down and ruin their business. That's not right. So there should be a way of filtering through, whether it be AI or whatever it may be, and letting the legitimate ones come through, whether they're good or bad or indifferent, but just letting the legitimate ones come through and not ones that say, the coffee sucked. I didn't like it. Well, my coffee is organic fair trade. Sorry, it's not Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. We do organic fair trade. So our coffee is going to taste a little different. It's not going to be acidic. It's not going to be darkly brewed like Starbucks. I mean, that's their niche. They burn their coffee beans. That's the
It
niche.
is. It's terrible.
Right.
I
But that's
like
their
burnt
niche. Right.
coffee.
Yeah, and so I do organic fair trade coffee. And so when you go, wow, your coffee is expensive. Well, hey, think about the farmers that I'm helping out by buying organic fair trade coffee. What about that?
Mhm. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I do wish people in general would just be a little bit more thoughtful about what they do or what they say, because it not only takes a toll. So, again, in this era of social media, Google reviews, and all of that, it's publicly out there for everybody to see, but
Right.
emotionally, like it hurts. We get up, we work so hard to make our business the best that we can,
Yeah.
and people are like, attack,
Right.
attack.
Yeah.
Ah,
Because they didn't get their way. And a lot of times it's entitled people, privileged people. They didn't get their way. And it's just like, wow, I would love to have, go to your business and see how you handle things. And I'd love to write a review about you as a person or your business and see how you like it. So yeah, it's a challenging thing. So
oh,
yeah,
yeah. And like I said, some of those reviews, it's like, you weren't even open when I went. Well, you have to read the signs, because businesses can't be open every day, all day, 24/7. That's not how this works.
right. Yeah, I've had that happen to me. Oh, he was closed. He said it was, oh, there's a sign on the door. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I closed due to short staffing, blah, blah, blah. And someone writes a negative review. I can't run two businesses by myself, so one of them has to close. So I put a sign on the door, so sorry for the inconvenience, short staff, gotta close. But in their mind, I didn't get my coffee. Oh,
Right,
and then
right.
they're all up in arms and write a negative review because I was short staffed. Well, I was short staffed because of the pandemic. I was short staffed because no one's working. But they don't see that. At the moment, it's about them and
Right.
they don't think about it.
And people are cranky before they have
And people are cranky.
in
Yeah.
general, but especially before they have their coffee.
And especially before they have the coffee.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. We have seen the patterns,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
It's all right. Let's turn our attention to your book, right? The Get Uncomfortable Guy, and everything you're doing with that, with your podcast, Kelvin, and with your book. Talk to us about who should read that book and what would they get out of it.
I think anyone who wants to embark upon this journey of being an entrepreneur needs to read the book. And what they're going to get from the book is that it's not a sugar-coated book. I try to tell it like it is. I try to tell them about the good, the bad, the ugly of being an entrepreneur, the sleepless nights, the funerals you're going to miss, the weddings you're going to miss, the social events you're going to miss, the late nights and how hard it is mentally, emotionally, and the struggles you're going to have. Just because of the fact that being an entrepreneur, everyone thinks that they have the misconception of, oh, you write your own hours, you write your own paycheck, you hand out business cards, you show up when you want to, you go to lunch here and there. Yeah, no, it's a lot more than that. That may be 3%, of what you see as an entrepreneur, but there's that other 97% that you don't see that you're on this journey. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. You have to create that light. And it's like Uncle Willie, my mentor, always tells me that you have to make your own good luck. And as an entrepreneur, that's what you have to do is every day you got to get up and make your own good luck. It's not going to come to you in winning the Powerball or the Mega Million. You got to make your own good luck. And so the book just talks about my struggles and what I had to go through, and how I'm here today and what it took to get me here today. I knew I was going to write a book when I was 18 years of age. I just didn't know what it was going to be about. And I've always been an entrepreneur since I was a young kid. So, excuse me, I think this book is for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, scared about going down this road and journey. And I always like to tell people I wrote this book because I'm trying to tell you not to be an entrepreneur. If you read this book and you still want to be an entrepreneur, then maybe you have earned the title of being called an entrepreneur or business owner. But I really wrote the book to scare people off and say, yeah, you don't want to walk down this path. And that's what the book is about, scaring them off. Don't walk down this path unless you really are committed because you're going to go through it.
Oh, yes. And like I am a total advocate for that. I think your book and others like it should be available in every college, every school that talks about entrepreneurship as a program, because we've been sold a bill of goods, right? On social media, everybody else, yo, 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 hashtag viral, right? And that's not how it goes down. People don't understand all that's involved. So like I mentor a lot of young folks, and one mentee that I had recently, he'd been about a week at it trying to hustle to find opportunities. He's like, I can't find anything. I give up. I hate this. Like,
Right,
this is 1 week.
right,
Wait, like you're just getting started. And the question is, should you even be going down this path? Because
right.
you're going to have to not only hustle from now on to get the leads in, but then you're going to have to hustle to make the customer happy. Then, oh, by the way, did you hear about the part where after you've made the customer mostly sort of kind of happy, then you've got to hustle them to get paid because they suddenly ghost you after they get what they want?
That's right. That's right. So it's a lot more than what people think it is being an entrepreneur. It really is. And not just the customer service aspect of it, the employee aspect of it, it's the mental game.
Yeah.
And I liken it to these athletes. Right now the Olympics is going on, right? These Winter Olympics, these athletes are so focused. When you sit back and you see them, they are so focused, right? That's how you have to be every single day as an Olympian, as a NFL player, NBA player, NHL, whatever. As these professional athletes, they are laser focused. And that's how you have to be every single day as an entrepreneur. And you have to be laser focused no matter if you get selected to go to the Pro Bowl, if you get selected to go to the Olympics. You have to be laser focused because that's how you hone in on your craft. And that's how you stay driven is you have to be focused. And if someone after a year or 2 years says, hey, I'm done with being an entrepreneur, hey, you don't get to become an entrepreneur until you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road because the sweet spot is 10 years. At 10 years, now you've kind of made it. You can call yourself an entrepreneur because you've made it. But the first year, the first 3 years, the first 5 years, the first 7 years, especially nowadays, oh my goodness. When you get to that sweet spot 10, that's when you can go, okay, phew, maybe I can take a Sunday off one day a week or one day a month. But you got to stay honed in like these athletes do on this Winter Olympics games.
Oh, and you talk about that. Of course, you've got to stay focused. If you're a Winter Olympian about to go down some huge mountain at 100 kilometers an hour with, okay, a decent helmet, but you're pretty much exposed with the rest of your body, you need to be focused because if you're not, bad things happen.
Yeah. I mean, look at Lindsay, Lindsay, what's her name?
Lohan. No,
Yes,
no, not Lindsay Lohan, Lindsay Vaughn.
Vaughn. Yeah.
Sorry.
So tore her ACL, right? And
Yeah.
she was like, oh no, I'm not going to let this stop me. I mean, unfortunately, she slipped and hurt herself and broke her leg, but that's the focus, that's the drive, that's the mentality that you have to have is, okay, so I have a missing ACL, big deal. So I woke up today and I'm congested and I'm feeling all sick, big deal. I got a job to do. She has a job to do. It took her many years to get there. Several times she's been there, of course, but this could be her last time. So you have to give it all you got because you don't know. You just don't know. And for a business owner, you just don't know when your number's up. You just don't know when that light at the end of the tunnel shines bright for you. You just don't know. You just have to keep going down that road and knowing and having faith that there is the light at the end of the tunnel and you will get to it. And when you get to it, it's going to shine brighter than you ever thought it would. You just have to have faith. And that's where that faith comes in.
Yeah. Well, it's all what I like about this is that we're closing all these loops. You've got to stay focused. I think entrepreneurship is a combination of radical optimism and ruthless prioritization, right? And when you layer
Yes.
in faith and you layer in humility because you do get your ass kicked a
Oh,
lot,
do
right?
you?
And then you go,
Oh,
oh, okay, well, I'm either going to respond to this in a way that's whole for me and whole for my business, or I'm going to deny that I made a mistake and go down a completely different path, which just radiates out in the wrong way to the rest of the world. And then you go in that downward spiral. It's all of these things.
yeah.
And I'm so glad you're out there telling people the reality because it's not easy.
It's not easy. I'll give you an example. The last 2 nights here in my bar, it's been slow for like a month. It's been slow. But the
Well, dry
last
January.
Right, exactly. But the last 2 nights here, man, my bar normally closes at 8 o'clock. Man, the last 2 nights I didn't go close until 10 o'clock. And so what does that do to me? I'm not eating dinner. I'm not taking time with my dogs. I'm feeding my dogs at 10 o'clock at night. But the thing is when you have business come in the door, I'm not going to look at my watch and go, oh, I'm sorry, guys, it's 8:05. I need you to leave when it's been slow all week long. I'm going to be there as long as possible. So for the last 2 nights, I'm down here till 10 o'clock, starving. And what do? I go to bed hungry. You drink some water. I drink some coconut water for electrolytes. I go to bed hungry. I wake up, I eat a big breakfast, and I do it all over again. But it was a great weekend. People who hadn't been here in weeks because of dry January, but this weekend was great. So these are the highs and the lows that you have as an entrepreneur. So you never know when the business is going to come in the door, but you better not turn it away when it's here.
If you could go back and undo one mistake, what one would it be?
Oh, that's going to go all the way. I know this one too. Boy, I know it. That's going to go all the way back to high school when I should have listened to my dad about SATs and preparing for the SATs and prepping for the SATs because I was stuck on this thing thinking I was going to be in the NFL, professional athlete. I was pretty good in high school, I would say. But I would have really listened to him. I would have really paid attention in those SAT preparatory classes. It would have made my journey at Rutgers University a lot easier. But because I didn't do that, instead of getting a degree in 4 years, my tenure at Rutgers University was about 6.5 because the first year I bombed and I had to redo the first year and et cetera, partying, et cetera. So I think the one thing if I could redo, will take me way back to high school, and I would have prepared a lot better for the SATs because that would have kind of launched me in a different direction than spending 6.5 years at Rutgers playing around because I didn't prepare myself properly because I thought I was going to be this athlete that I didn't end up being.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough, right? We get to this age and look back and go, ooh, ooh. There's ripple effect, right, of these decisions that we make. We think we're untouchable, especially when we're young, and then you're like, dang, it comes
If
back,
only if I would have listened, only if I would have listened.
right? All right, Kelvin, where can folks find you?
Well, great. I have a personal website called kelvinabrams.com, and that'll have all my other links there. But you can go to Get Uncomfortable Guy. I have a website for Tiki's Playhouse, tikisplayhouse.com, website for Canine and Coffee, k9andcoffee.com. But I guess the easiest way is go to kelvinabrams.com, and then you'll see a link and information about all my businesses there, including my book.
Okay, last question, signature question of the show. If we got to peek into your closet and there was a pair of footwear that you wanted to, show off with those beautiful little pedicures that you get, those little like toes. What footwear are we looking at, and why does it represent who you are? It personifies Kelvin Abrams.
It will be my black Timberland boots because I strap them on all year around. And it's my get uncomfortable kind of mentality. Is, I got my black boots on, my Timberlands, I'm ready for anything. I'm ready to be out in the yard with the dogs. I'm ready to, be across the street. I'm ready to be behind the bar. So it's the Timberlands that keep me going. You strap up my boots and I'm ready to go. It's like soldier. Soldier straps on his boots when he's out there. He or she is out there, and you're ready to go. So when I get up and I strap those boots on, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to hit the front line.
Oh, there we go. Kelvin, thank you so much for being on our show today and for telling us, like how it is. And I really appreciate not only being vulnerable, but being honest, right? This is what the world needs more of. Thank you,
Yes.
Kelvin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.